After months of heightened violence and years of political instability, what's ahead for Haiti? Hello, I'm Anand Naidu, and this is The Heat. Haiti is being called the worst humanitarian crisis in the Western Hemisphere. This after months of intensified gang attacks and a government still rebounding from the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse back in 2021. Nearly 580,000 people have been internally displaced and millions are facing hunger. Idem Wosonu, Director of Operations and Advocacy for the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, had this to say.
The people of Haiti are asking for three things. They're asking for peace, they're asking for the gang violence to stop, they're asking to reclaim their country back.
As Port-au-Prince looks to the international community for security assistance and aid, does the Caribbean nation have a chance at stability and lasting peace? Well, to discuss this and more, let's bring in our guests. Joining us from Canada, Roromme Chantal is political science professor at Moncton University. Out of Haiti, Louis-Henri is the founder and executive director of Lakou, Lapè. In New York, William O'Neill is a UN expert on the human rights situation in Haiti. And Etienne Côté-Paluck is the editor-in-chief of Haiti Magazine and Haiti Weekly. Welcome to all of you. Etienne, let me start with you. You are in the capital, Port-au-Prince. Gangs continue to control up to 80% of the capital. There's been ongoing violence. We have had these UN-backed forces that have been deployed in the capital. What is the situation right now?
For now, the situation is a bit tense, but still less than it was a few months ago. Most of the capital, like you said, is controlled by those groups, and they really block the ways in and out of the city. So we feel a bit trapped inside the city, but in the parts that are still free, we still kind of feel a bit less stressed than a few months ago when there was rampant attacks in the streets before the government was thrown out. So now we see the new international force, mainly Kenyan forces, in Haiti, policemen. 400 of them are now in Port-au-Prince, and they're trying to assess how they can help with the situation. We haven't seen any big operation that in the last 2 months that are here, but still, and quite the opposite. I should add, because two other municipalities have been now under control of those criminal groups since the last week. Gracie and Gantine, both in the north and the south of the capital. So there's new gains for the criminal groups, but we haven't seen any real gains in the part of the police or the foreign forces that are here. They're trying to clean up close to the National Palace right now, but still it's all tense downtown right now.
Oh, Roromme Chantal, much of the political instability dates back to the assassination of the president, Jovenel Moïse, in 2021. And the situation has deteriorated under former Prime Minister Ariel Henry, who resigned in April. Gary Coney is the current Prime Minister. What is the political situation like in Haiti right now?
The political situation is pretty much the same since that assassination happened, because Mr. Henry himself has been picked by the international community. He was part of the PHTK, the party of former Haitian President Michel Martelly. He's been a minister of Martelly and then Jovenel Moïse, so he didn't take any significant action to put an end to the violence in Haiti. And the reason is that most of the gangs have a strong affiliation with the power in Haiti. And after that, we have currently Gary Coney. Gary Coney is apparently working with the same people who have orchestrated the situation that we have in Haiti, and no action whatsoever is being taken right now. So that's why the situation for me, it's pretty much the same like a couple of months ago.
Louis-Henri, I've been looking at some of the figures about what's going on in Haiti right now, and they're very alarming. We had this report from Genocide Watch, which reported that at least 1,379 people were killed or wounded in gang warfare and 428 people kidnapped. That was between April and June of this year. They seized control of more than 24 police stations. The main international airport was set on fire. We also have two of the country's biggest prisons that were stormed. 4,000 inmates were freed, according to the United States news agency Associated Press. So I guess the question is, has that UN-backed force made any difference at all?
Well, first of all, the numbers that have been settled in Haiti right now is very little so far. There are 400 of them, and apparently they did not have a plan to intervene with such little numbers. They're supposed to be coming more important numbers of them in September or October, and more countries are supposed to contribute. And the overall balance of power has not changed yet in Haiti. The gangs still have the upper hand in terms of both numbers and momentum. And they're showing that momentum by moving further up north on the North Road and further down south on the South Road. So it will take more time and more soldiers or police officers on the ground, and a plan to turn around this situation.
And Louis-Henri, what is the situation on the deployment of these forces? I mean, ultimately, the plan was to have 2,500 troops in the country. In fact, Prime Minister Kony said the deployment of international forces is too slow and that people are getting impatient.
Yes, not only the people are getting impatient, but the gangs are gaining momentum and understanding that so far the MSS is not producing anything that would make them flinch. So they're taking advantage of that. They're bringing in more guns, more ammunition, and they're gaining more territory. And they're destroying any infrastructure that could be of use to the multinational force. One thing that needs to be understood, that it's a police mission that is being executed where there's the need for actually a military mission also, or a military mission instead of a police mission, because you're facing something that's going to be akin to a guerrilla warfare situation. So the police are not trained for that. So the very calculus behind the mission has to be questioned.
William O'Neill, looking at the humanitarian situation in Haiti right now, as I said earlier on at the beginning of the show, it's been called the worst humanitarian crisis in the Western Hemisphere. Nearly 580,000 people have been internally displaced. More than 1 million face hunger and food insecurity. In fact, there's 1.6 million Haitians who are on the brink of starvation. What is your assessment of what the humanitarian situation is like right now?
Well, it's completely consistent and reflected in the statistics you just gave. The increase, what really concerns me is the rapid increase in some of those figures. When I was in Haiti last fall on my second, I've been to Haiti many times, but on the second official visit with this title, the figure for internally displaced was 200,000. And so you see now, I think it's probably way over 600,000 actually. So it's more than tripled in just that intervening time. Half of those internally displaced are children, and sexual violence and abuse is rampant. I wouldn't even call them camps. They're more like settlements or places where the IDPs, the internally displaced persons, gather. They're totally vulnerable. And in fact, my colleagues inside the UN mission in Haiti who report on the violations that they can confirm have actually stopped giving a figure for the number of cases of sexual violence because they know whatever figure they give would be misleadingly low. And so that just gives you a sense of the desperation many people feel, that they have to live with every day, lack of access to clean water, to basic health care, to shelter, education, you name it, almost any measure, as you've just said. Haiti is, I would say, among the worst in the world, and certainly the worst in this hemisphere.
Right, and William, those conditions that you're talking about there, is that throughout the country, or is it mainly in the capital, Port-au-Prince?
It's mainly in the capital and the surrounding region, although some of the earlier speakers here have indicated there has been an expansion in some ways of gang-controlled area to the south and to the northeast. The other area I would highlight where this is happening, though, is in the Artibonite Valley, the lower Artibonite Valley, which is Haiti's breadbasket. To the extent Haiti produces food, it used to be self-sufficient in food. That's a whole other conversation we could have. Now it depends largely on imports, but there is still food produced. The Artibonite Valley is the main area. There are two brutal, violent gangs that control that area, which is added also to, there is food in Haiti, it's just the access to it, the cost of it is prohibitive, and that is one of the reasons, among several, why you have famine-like conditions for, as you said, 1.5 million people growing every day.
Etienne, a new government has been installed for the time being. The acting Prime Minister, Gary Coney, he has been in his post since June the 3rd. Does Coney have legitimacy among the Haitian people? Does he have the support of the Haitian people?
Yes and no. I would say that most of the people here are trying to see what's going to happen. It still is the beginning of his government. He's pushed a lot on some issues. He's really good with communication, but on the field itself, we haven't seen major advancement, that's especially security-wise. So everybody's still waiting to see how it's going to happen. But we're still hearing some dissent. One party that has elected a member to represent itself at the council, the multi-political council that is at the presidential, that has the presidential status. One of them have decided to organize a protest this weekend and to protest the how it is functioning, how this council is functioning, the presidential council. So we'll see how it goes in the next weeks if there's really a discontent. But for now, everybody mostly still watching how he's gonna play his cards and how everything. I mean, especially there's something that is going to change for the people in their daily life.
Right, and Etienne, there's one other complication, and that is the return of Guy Philippe to Haiti. He is a former elected senator. He's also a rebel leader, and he returned to Haiti after serving a 7-year prison sentence in the United States. Philippe is actually advocating for a revolution in the country against the appointed government. I mean, how does this complicate the situation?
It complicated things, but still doesn't have a real grip in the capital politically. So there's not real issue there. Most of the political circles in Port-au-Prince don't include him in the talks, mostly. We'll see if he get closer to some of the criminal groups that he has in the past advocated for amnesty. So we'll see if that happens. But for now, in the politically, it's far from happening. We'll see. He has just founded a new political party, and he will see if that grows and if it gets a grip over all the country. But for now, it's mostly in some regions, really locally.
Roromme, Chantal, what are your thoughts on the transitional presidential council? It has 9 members, only 1 woman, and she does not have a vote. In fact, if we look at the situation in Haiti, women are bearing the brunt of what is going on right now. No women were interviewed for the position of prime minister. But what do you see as to how the council is functioning right now?
The council is not functioning well at all. It was a very bad idea. I said that from the very outset, because you have on this council 7 members, 9 members, but some of them, 4 of them, come from the same political parties that have been involved in corruption in Haiti and that have connections with the gangs. That's why there is no political will right now to dismantle these gangs. I wasn't in favor of such a council or of such a formula. I was in favor of putting in place either one personality or a council with people coming from the civil societies who are not involved in the crisis and corruption. Today, the Haitian people have no hope in this council. You've heard probably that 4 of them are involved in the corruption, asking for the director of the bank to give them $100 million so he can remain in his position. So this council should go right away, and other people should be picked to lead the transition, including Mr. Gary Coney. His legitimacy comes from the fact that he has the backing of the United States, of the international community, but not of the Haitian people. I believe all these people should go and leave the places to people who are honest, who can take concrete actions to solve the problem in Haiti.
Right. Louis-Henri, let's look at the United Nations force, or the United Nations-backed force there, known as the Multinational Security Support Force. This is the 4th major foreign military intervention in Haiti, and not everyone is happy with the United Nations, given its record in the country over the past few years. Many are concerned about the mission from 2004 to 2017, allegations of sexual assault. We had that cholera outbreak that killed many people. Can the UN force be an effective means to bring stability to the country?
It can open a window of possibility for the country to look at what it wants for itself. Right now, under the domination of the gangs, there's little possibility for Haitians to really talk to each other and decide what they want for their country. There has to be some form of a truce or an understanding that we cannot go on like this forever. And there needs to be some victories by the state to reassert a certain amount of power and fear among the gangs that they're going to be eliminated, so as to create the space for dialogue, the space for talks. The gangs have, the gang coalition, through its one of its main leaders, has been asking for dialogue, and the government has not responded because the government is in a position of weakness right now. They have to set a few examples so that to bring a modicum of possibility of a discussion on dismantlement and of these gangs. So there is work to be done, and the 400 officers that have landed so far are not enough. The 2,500 are not going to be enough to dismantle everybody, because once you intervene in a neighborhood, you have to be able to occupy that neighborhood. There's not enough officers and in the MSS and in the National Police to occupy all the neighborhoods of the 14 communes that have been identified as being problematic. So you need to have victories. You need to have small victories or big victories to bring the other party to the discussion table.
William O'Neill, you were telling us a moment ago about that very grim humanitarian situation in Haiti right now, especially the risks to women and to children. Well, the UN's office in Port-au-Prince has just come out with a new report, and they say, and this report says that there are 40 rape victims a day in some parts of the capital. A UN Women statement revealed that the violence has displaced 300,000 women and girls. They also lack basic services, and at this stage, the country has the highest mortality rate in the Western Hemisphere. So when we look at, the priorities for the new government, this transitional council, surely it would be to stabilize that situation.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's security, security, security. I mean, it all flows from the gang's violence and controls of territory, and as already mentioned, key roads, key intersections. Also, I should add the Bay of Port-au-Prince. The gangs now, some of them have boats because people got tired of getting hijacked, raped, kidnapped, and killed using the roads, and the gangs caught on, and now they hijack boats too. So it all stems from security. It's got to be addressed. I would just add, and I can understand the focus on the MSS, and that's important. But there are two other aspects to the international response that are very, very important that are linked. And if they all would work together, I think there would be a chance to get control over the security situation. One is the sanctions, as someone mentioned earlier. The gangs have a lot of autonomy now, much more than they used to have, but they still have links with, they call them the hommes à cravate, the gangsters with neckties, the politicians and the oligarchs. So there is still that link. The Sanctions Committee at the Security Council has been given names by a panel of experts. For all kinds of geopolitical reasons, the Security Council has not acted, as it should, I think, to publish those names and put them under sanctions, universal sanctions, not just by the US or Canada, the whole world. The second is the arms trafficking. There's not a single gun or bullet manufactured in Haiti. The overwhelming percentage comes directly from the United States or through the Dominican Republic or Jamaica. There has to be much more serious crackdown on the trafficking on guns and bullets, especially bullets. If the gangs don't have bullets, they lose all their power. They have no popularity. The population hates the gangs. So if we could just literally disarm the gangs that way, then this force actually wouldn't have so much fighting to do because the gangs wouldn't be able to fight back. So I think all three together, the force, the sanctions, and the arms embargo, if they could be implemented with vigor and quickly, I think we could start to see a turnaround in the security situation. And then once there's security, then all the other problems of Haiti, poverty, discrimination, corruption, can start to be addressed in a meaningful manner.
Etienne, what are your thoughts on that? You know, as William says, the number one priority is security in the capital. And you were telling us earlier in the show about, you know, these gangs controlling large parts of the capital, blocking roads. I mean, are things like food supplies, fuel supplies getting through?
For now, there's a corridor that has been established to access the port. So there's goods that are coming in still, but still it's a corridor that goes through downtown, and it's highly protected by, so each trucks that comes in has armed vehicle, police armed vehicle accompanying and following them, making sure that there are no attacks. There's lots of those trucks that have been hijacked in the past. Again, this week again. So it's a constant struggle. But for now, there's some goods that are coming in. The issue right now is the South Road that is totally closed. So the goods from the south of the country cannot come in Port-au-Prince. It's been now 2 weeks. We'll see how it goes in the next weeks. It's going to be reopened because lots of the food coming from the south. And the same issue is with the north. The roads are always hard to go through, but still some come in, and we have some foods. But we're all watching this with wary eyes and trying to see in the next few days instead of the next few months. But for now, we're kind of okay.
Well, Roromme, Chantal, what is the political roadmap for the country? You know, as we pointed out, there is this transitional council, which is there right now. There was supposed to be national elections earlier this year, but that's not taking place due to the escalating unrest and violence. The former Prime Minister, Henri, he agreed to elections as well. I mean, clearly circumstances have changed and are changing every day. So what is the roadmap?
Just a couple of days ago, Gary Coney, the Prime Minister, had an interview with BBC, and he said clearly that they will not be able to achieve the goal of organizing elections for a transition from that transitional team to new elected officials. That is very scary because if they can't, which means that it's not clear how the situation will move from there. So I agree with Mr. O'Neill that the international community should start taking concrete actions to allow the officials in Port-au-Prince to address the security crisis that will allow the population to get out of his home and live their lives. And also they should take concrete action to bring some food to the population, because there is a huge humanitarian crisis in Haiti, and they also have to organize national dialogue so they can put in place a new rules in order to avoid in the future that same type of crisis. And in the end, in terms of how many amount of soldiers that we have in Haiti, policemen, whatever they have, we need really a strong, some muscle in Haiti to address the gangs problem in Haiti. Now that they seem stronger, if there is no concrete action to create that kind of fear that one of us was talking about, that means we will take 2 more years without doing nothing, and that could be real despair for the Haitian people.
Louis-Henri, so we have this stability force, the Kenyan soldiers who are in Haiti right now. There's supposed to be forces coming from at least 7 other countries. But if we look at the financing of all this, according to the UN Security Council, it'll cost $600 million a year to maintain these forces. So far, the United Nations has received only 18 million in contributions, mainly from Canada, France, and the United States as well has contributed money, but that's not including a separate US package, which is 300 million. I mean, what do you make of the funding so far? Because the deployment of these other forces will depend very closely on whether the money comes through.
Yes. Well, first of all, I'm not very happy about the choices that have been made to finance on the MSS in this way without financing the national police and the national army. The MSS is going to leave someday, and what happens next? Is the police and the army are going to be in a better position to keep control of the neighborhoods? Is the police a solution for the social issue that has created the gangs? There has to be work done at the social level. There's no police solution to a social problem. So you need to be working on building up the national police. Why don't we put $600 million in there, and build up the national police infrastructure and military infrastructure, and also the lives of the people, so that the young people do not have the temptation of going into gangs. I think that's the real solution.
Okay, and we have to leave it there. Thank you to all of you for being with us. And that's it for this edition of The Heat. I'm Anand Naidu in Washington, D.C.